What if I told you the most dangerous marathon runner in the world came out of nowhere, and in just 3 races left the experts speechless? What if I told you it all started in Valencia, with an impossible debut, and what came next defied every law of sport? What if there were hidden signs he could break 2 hours, and almost no one noticed in time? How could an unknown runner perform as if the rules didn't apply to him? And what would have happened if he had kept competing? Today, you'll see the true story of the man who could have changed the marathon forever, and the data proving he wasn't a miracle, but something even more unsettling. Long before the world knew him, the signs were already there. This guy wasn't normal. In the half marathon, he clocked 58:42, the second fastest debut in history. Almost nobody paid attention. In smaller races, his negative splits were so extreme, they looked like timing errors. He'd speed up just when everyone else was falling apart. He ran with the kind of aggression only future champions have. And the strangest part? He wasn't part of Kenya's classic elite system. No federation, no major team, no grooming program. He was a hidden talent, far from cameras, far from the official pipeline. Yet leaked training logs already showed something alarming. Insane mileage, brutal long runs, violent pace changes that looked like another sport entirely. It was as if his body was built for something huge. The world just hadn't realized it yet. That all changed in Valencia. Valencia 2022. The city where records are born, and where a complete unknown decided to rewrite marathon history in a single morning. Nobody talked about him. He wasn't a favorite. He wasn't even mentioned in pre-race predictions. But from the very first kilometer, one thing was clear. He hadn't come to participate. He'd come to attack. His splits were insane. No fear. No hesitation. No backing off when the pace rose. That day he ran as if he knew something the rest didn't. When he crossed the line in 2 hours, 1 minute and 53 seconds, the city went silent. It was the fastest marathon debut ever. Ever. No one had done that before. And the most shocking part, he finished strong. No collapse. No pain etched on his face. He looked like he could have kept going. It felt like he discovered a different way to run, one that shouldn't exist. That was the day the experts began to whisper. How could someone outside the system, without a big team behind him, run so effortlessly? But that was only the beginning. The real storm was coming. In London, after Valencia, everyone wanted to see if it had been luck or the start of something dangerous. London 2023 gave the answer. On the start line, the favorites glanced at each other. Kelvin Kiptum didn't blink. He didn't carry the aura of a seasoned champion. He carried something worse, total confidence. The kind of confidence only runners have when they know they can destroy a race anytime they want. The early kilometers were steady but tense. He didn't hide in the pack. He moved wherever he wanted, whenever he wanted, testing the others like a predator stalking prey. A London rookie, running as if he owned the course. Then, with 12 kilometers to go, he did the unthinkable. He pressed the accelerator. Not slightly, not gradually. He attacked like the race had just begun. While others were fading, he was flying. While others checked the clock, he stared straight ahead. The final stretch was pure domination. 2 hours, 1 minute and 25 seconds, a new course record. And again, no visible exhaustion. No grimace. No stumble. Whispers turned into murmurs. This isn't normal. This isn't human. If he keeps this up, he's going to change the marathon forever. But there was still one more test left. The race that would silence the entire planet. Chicago. Chicago 2023. The day everything stopped being theory and became undeniable. From the gun, something felt off. Kiptum didn't run to win. He ran to prove something. The pace was brutal, yet his face was calm, almost serene, as if his body didn't understand pain. Kilometers passed, no fatigue, none. No tension in the shoulders, no drop in form, no heavy breathing. While others fought to survive, he looked like he was just warming up. And then came the moment that will live forever in sports history. Halfway through, at the point where the marathon either breaks you or forgives you, Kiptum attacked. No logic, no pacing strategy, just pure speed. A surge that shouldn't exist that deep into a marathon. It was like watching a car shift gears halfway up a mountain. An acceleration so unreal that commentators went silent. His closing pace was so fast most elite runners couldn't match it even in a half marathon. When he stopped the clock at 2 hours and 35 seconds, no one reacted at first. Too much, too fast, too easy, too strange. But it was real. A new world record, achieved with terrifying ease. No collapse, no pain. He finished like only the chosen ones do. That day, he didn't just win a race. He redefined the limits of the marathon. And he made one thing clear. His ceiling wasn't 2 hours. It was lower. To understand why he could do that, you have to look at his training. And that's where things get even stranger. While most elites follow tightly controlled programs, Kiptum trained like a wild animal. Weeks of 280-plus kilometers. Long runs of 40 to 50 kilometers that would break normal athletes. And yet the next day, he was fresh, as if his body recharged overnight. Teammates said that when they hit their limits, he kept pushing. No fear, no doubt, just raw aggression. Not reckless aggression, confident aggression. His fartleks were savage, sudden shifts from relaxed pace to near-race effort, again and again. No structured plan, no rigid routine. And somehow, it worked perfectly for him. He didn't train like Kipchoge, no strict military discipline, no meticulously timed sessions. He trained his own way, chaotic but brutally effective. It seemed his aerobic engine had no end. Like his body was engineered to run forever without breaking. That's what began to terrify the experts. Because if someone can train like that and still race at record pace, then we're talking about more than talent. We're talking about an anomaly. A runner designed to shatter what we thought was impossible. When analysts examined his splits, the unease grew. The data didn't match normal physiology. It matched someone capable of breaking the barrier everyone called untouchable. Elite coaches ran the numbers. If he could run the second half faster than the first and finish with so much power, then his true potential wasn't around 2 hours, it was below. Some said he could run 1:59. Others whispered 1:58. It sounded insane, but the math agreed. It lined up perfectly with Valencia, with his surge in London, with his monstrous finish in Chicago. Kiptum's difference wasn't just speed. It was his ability to sustain it and accelerate when others hit the wall. He ended marathons like they were 10 Burmese shots. Analysts started joking, but they weren't really joking. If this guy hits the final kilometer at 2 o'clock flat, he's breaking it. And no one dared disagree. The feeling was clear. If he stayed healthy, if he kept training that way, if he ran another flat, fast course, he had the real potential to destroy the 2-hour barrier. All signs pointed to one place, Rotterdam. After Chicago, the world wanted just one answer. Where would the next explosion happen? Rotterdam. A fast, flat city, perfect for history. The chosen course for something the world had never seen. An official sub-2-hour marathon. The pressure started to build. Organizers knew they held the biggest event in their history. Rivals knew it. Sponsors knew it. Everyone understood that this race could change the sport forever. The forecasts were wild. If he maintained form, if the weather held, if the pacers did their job, he wouldn't just try, he'd do it. No one expected just a victory. They expected a demonstration, a time that would make the clock tremble. People talked about domination, about a performance that would feel like science fiction. Rotterdam 2024 was set to be his coronation, the race that would immortalize his name. But before that day came, everything shattered. The news hit like lightning. Kelvin Kiptum had been in an accident that stopped his story just as he was about to change everything. The running world wasn't ready for it. Athletes were in shock. Coaches had no words. Fans couldn't believe the man destined to break 2 hours would never stand on the Rotterdam start line. It wasn't just the loss of a champion. It was the loss of a future, of an era that had only just begun to reveal its first shadows. Because what we saw in Valencia, London, and Chicago wasn't his limit. It was a preview, a trailer, and suddenly, it was over. No record, no duel, no coronation. Just one impossible question. What would have happened in Rotterdam? That emptiness turned Kiptum into something greater than a champion. It made him a myth. A myth born not only from what he did, but from what he was about to do. Looking at his splits, his finishing speed, his recovery data, the conclusion is uncomfortable but clear. Kiptum wasn't meant to be the next great marathoner. He was meant to be the first of a new kind. The numbers say he hadn't hit his limit. His body was still improving. His training was getting even more aggressive. His races showed something we'd never seen. Closing speed that made no sense after 40 kilometers. Would he have gone under 2 hours in Rotterdam? The data says yes. Not by miracle. Not by luck. By pure logic. He would have won. He would have destroyed the record. And he would have taken the marathon to a place we still don't know. Kiptum wasn't just a talent. He was a glimpse of the future of athletics. A future that stopped one step short of becoming real. His story ended too soon. But his impact will echo for decades. Because records break. Times fade. But impossible questions never die. Kiptum left us one brutal lesson. When you run without fear, when you run as if nothing can stop you, the whole world has to adjust to your pace. And though we'll never know what might have happened in Rotterdam, one thing is certain. The marathon will never be the same again. If you want more stories that make you see running differently, you know what to do. And if you like this one, here's another that'll hook you from the first second. Click now and keep running with me.